By way of introduction, I'm David Clohessy from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm the former executive director of a support group called SNAP. I was abused as a kid by a priest. So were three of my brothers. One of my brothers went on to become a priest himself and went on to molest kids himself. And I say that just to explain why I'm involved in this movement and have been for 30 years. I want to first, of course, thank Cheryl and Ashley and everybody who helped put this event on. And I, of course, Ashley's point about how women are always at the forefront of real change deserves to be made over and over again and heard over and over again. It's interesting and ironic to me that we're in Alabama, the state where Rosa Parks sat down and sparked an amazing, amazing movement. And I'm thrilled and grateful to be here for a whole bunch of reasons, but one of them is because another very courageous woman sparked a movement, and she's with us here in Alabama tonight, and that is the Rosa Parks of the Protestant child safety movement, Krista Brown. Just a thrill and an honor to know Krista. See, I thought I'd throw that in because that takes up about 1 minute of my 5 minutes right there. I don't have to fill that space. And just like Rosa Parks and other pioneers and social movement leaders, Krista's endured all kinds of persecution and harassment. It was literally 10 years ago that a top Baptist official, Paige Patterson, said of Krista and others who were pushing for change, said they were just as reprehensible as sex criminals. Think about that. Just as reprehensible as sex criminals. And if you think I'm exaggerating, Bob Allen is here, who wrote one of the stories about that horrific remark, but that tells you something about the mindset that we're up against. But the good news is change is coming. By what authority do I say that? Another great movement leader, Mahatma Gandhi, who said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. My friends, congratulations on reaching phase 3. Despite all the lofty words you're going to hear this week, they are in fact fighting us, and guess what? We are winning. Absolutely. Now, what do you think happens when you take an old white guy who's been doing the same thing for 30 years and you put a microphone in front of him? You're going to get some advice. So here goes. 30 years of activism I've tried to boil down into essentially 15 words. Here we go. First, protect the kids. First and foremost, protect the kids. It sounds obvious, right? It sounds obvious, but it's not. It's so easy to get distracted. Ask yourself, no matter what is proposed or voted on or approved or not approved, ask yourself this question. Will this step protect one child tomorrow? And if the answer is no, let it go. Number 2, ignore church promises. Ignore church promises. Panels and policies and procedures and protocols and all of that stuff, those are just promises. They're words on paper. And promises don't protect kids. Performance protects kids. They exist for 2 reasons, these policies and procedures: for legal defense and for public relations, period. Ignore them. Third, ignore church officials. That may sound counterintuitive and it may sound mean, but ignore church officials. At best, dealing with them is a distraction, honestly, and at worst, it's demoralizing. And it gives them yet another opportunity to puff out their chests and do some more PR and say, look, aren't we magnanimous meeting with these poor, pathetic victims? Don't do it. So, what does work? What should we be doing instead? 2 simple things. Number 1, continue to create external pressure. Criminal prosecution, civil lawsuits, exposing wrongdoers in public, reforming archaic predator-friendly laws. That stuff works. That works. It's possible that sitting around talking with church officials, we might be able to change them over time, but guess what? Kids are being raped today. Today. So let's not gamble, let's not squander time, let's not demoralize ourselves. Let's do what really works. And finally, the other thing that works, making heads roll. Making heads roll. It may sound harsh, it may sound punitive, it may sound unchristian, but the simple fact is nothing changes human behavior like consequences for wrongdoing. And wrongdoing that is ignored is wrongdoing that's encouraged. I drove from St. Louis to Memphis to here. The first leg of the trip, I drove fairly recklessly. The second leg of the trip, I drove really well. You want to know why? I got a speeding ticket on the way to Memphis. Consequences change behavior. And so when some of these men are not just those who commit, not just those who commit, but those who conceal abuse, when they start being demoted and defrocked and disciplined and denounced, that's when change really happens. Well, and finally, I just want to say, now I'm over my 15-word limit, but I just want to say, Rosa Parks did not give up. Krista Brown did not give up. Please, none of you give up. You have no idea how many survivors, how many family members of survivors, you have no idea how many people are getting sustenance and comfort and hope from what we are doing. So no matter what, don't give up. I'll see you here next year, and one after that, and one after that, and one after that. And we will win. We will win safer churches for all of us. Thank you.